Okay. All right, we're officially recording. So we're here with you, Kati Brazeal, and we are having your seminar at our gym of CrossFit Deprivation and Next Rep CrossFit. So give the people a little background about your stuff and kind of how you started in gymnastics and how you started doing these seminars.
Yeah, absolutely. So starting with my background, I started gymnastics when I was 9, which is actually really late. So a lot of the past Olympic champions specifically have started the sport when they were 2 to 3 years old, just to give you kind of a frame of reference. So I trained at Wolga Gymnastics Academy in Plano, Texas, under the 2004 U.S. Olympic head coach Evgeny Marchenko. So I was on the team with Carly Patterson, who was a 2004 U.S. all-around Olympic champion. So everything that Evgeny instilled in me growing up about artistic gymnastics principles, how to move your body efficiently, is everything I share within my seminars. So through high school, obviously I trained in Plano at Wolga, and then I went on to earn a full scholarship to compete at the University of Georgia, where I was there from 2009 to 2013. And then after retiring, I decided I didn't want to do anything athletic whatsoever. I was done. I needed a break, just mentally, physically, emotionally, everything. And so I didn't do anything for 2 years. Needless to say, I was a bump on a log for 2 years. So through a job, I was actually introduced to CrossFit. So I found CrossFit through a sports media company called Flow Sports. So at the time, I was running their gymnastics website. They decided to launch a functional fitness, weightlifting, CrossFit website. Didn't have anyone to run it, but I knew the website portion, technology design. That was my background, but I didn't know anything about CrossFit itself. So they were like, why don't you come over, start this website? We will pay for your membership for 3 months so you can kind of jump in and learn by doing. And honestly, that was my first experience with CrossFit. So immediately fell in love just because it was a great competitive outlet. It allowed me to just get moving again, do different things, because I have a very short attention span. So I love the constant variety of all the different sports it encompasses. And obviously fell in love with the gymnastics part. So this is how I transitioned into where we are today. I would start helping teammates after classes, just with gymnastic skills, because I saw a real struggle there, especially within the gym I was at, is nobody knew how in the world to do the skills themselves, much less coach. And so that's where I just kind of stepped in and was like, oh, this is kind of fun. I'm actually enjoying this. And the irony of it all is that even growing up, I always told myself I was never going to get into coaching, ever.
Well, of course.
Yeah, exactly. So a lot of the times when gymnasts do retire from the sport, they'll either go back to their club gym and they coach classes there, or some of them have pursued coaching at the collegiate level. It just depends. But I was not one of those. I was like, I'm done. I'm done with gymnastics. This is in my past. I'm doing totally new things moving forward. So when we fast forward to CrossFit, starting to help teammates in classes, I was like, oh God, I actually enjoy this a lot. Okay, so what can we do with this? So that's where the first idea of, okay, let's start coaching classes maybe. Let's start coaching small groups of people. And with every single class I coached, I fell in love with it more. It was the fact that I could teach people to do things that they never thought that they would be capable of. Because the number one issue I hear even today is that adults do not believe that they can learn new things, especially anything related to gymnastics, because it's body weight, because it's easier as a kid, because I'm too old, I hurt now. But in reality, they just haven't had the proper coaching to know that it is possible. They don't know the tangible, easily digestible, easily understandable steps you can take to be able to do, these really complex, almost scary movements. And so that's just what I love. It's about giving people almost the experience in gymnastics that I always wished I have. So we can get into my personal experience within the sport at a later date. I'll say it was not positive. And so that is my most favorite thing about Brazil gymnastics today, is because I get to love on people. I get to give them affirmations. I get to show them that they can do things that they've never done before, maybe even never thought about before. And really, my goal is to make sure they have such a positive experience, the experience in gymnastics that I always wanted growing up. And so that's where we are with seminars today. It's just continued to blow up and grow, which I'm totally thankful for, just because they're hard work, but I enjoy every single second of it. When we actually get to the seminar, 6 hours might seem like a really long time, but in reality, it goes by like the blink of an eye. I mean, all of a sudden it's 3 o'clock and people are just like, oh no, we're done. Like, I cannot believe that went so fast, because we move the whole time. We learn by doing. That's my biggest thing, is you have to learn by doing, because it's a body weight sport. You have to do it yourselves to understand it. So we are literally training for 6 hours. But it goes by in a flash because it's fun. You get chances to rest and relax. I make sure it's a comfortable atmosphere that everybody's, having a good time in. And so that's that.
Yeah. I love it. I love it. You made me excited to be a coach even more.
Oh, good.
Yeah. Because I honestly, I love that you had a negative, unfortunately you had a negative experience, and instead of kind of just continuing to be negative, you turn it into a positive thing, which is very similar to why I kind of wanted to start my own CrossFit gym, because I didn't have the best experience, and I just felt like I loved everything about CrossFit. I just felt like the community I was at wasn't as strong as I know what it can be. And that was one of my driving forces too, was being able to make it an amazing experience, and to kind of get that stigma of CrossFit that, it is just a competitive thing, and that it's only for competitive, and that it can be for everybody. It can be for that 7-year-old, man, the overweight person, and anything that we do is able to do that. So that's really, really awesome. That you took that and kind of flipped it. So, what was your first workout of CrossFit? Just curious.
Oh gosh. I know it was like 5 rounds of 400-meter runs, pull-ups, and kettlebell swing.
Okay.
I mean, for me at the time, being 2 years after doing nothing physical, it was the worst.
Yeah.
Not to mention, I always make sure I tell people this to put things in perspective. I may be able to do all the gymnastics parts of this sport. However, if you saw me run or try to weightlift, it's atrocious. I have the longest limbs, and it does not work. So I always tell people, keep it in perspective. You could absolutely lap me, if we're running and doing an actual CrossFit workout. But
yeah. That's the beauty of CrossFit, right? Is everyone's always got something that they need to get better.
Yeah, well-rounded. So.
Yeah, absolutely. Do you think? So what makes your gymnastics seminar different? Like, why do you think people should come specifically to it? Like, why do you think it's been so popular? Obviously, you were in another country, correct? Like last month. So obviously it's taking off, and it's everything that, all your reviews look amazing. So, why do you think that's the case?
Yes. Well, number one, I know I'm obviously biased to myself, but there is not going to be another coach that is doing the same thing, that is going to have the energy and the passion and just the absolute genuine love for this sport and helping people that I have. I know that I can say that with 100% confidence, that this is what I am supposed to do on this earth with this life. And I love doing it, and I make sure that that's known. But getting into more technical side, I also don't think another coach can, as easily break down such complex gymnastic skills into very easily digestible parts that athletes of all levels can practice. So what we're going to do in these seminars is, number one, we are going to start at the bottom. I always say that gymnastics is a big game of Legos. You have to build a really solid foundation of strength, coordination, body awareness, mobility, and flexibility before you can do anything else in this sport. Because if you have any kind of weakness within one of those areas, I guarantee you are already struggling within your CrossFit performance, much less your gymnastics performance. So we start at the bottom. We start with basics. We start with proper warm-ups, stretches geared towards the really problematic areas that I see within CrossFit athletes, like the shoulders, the thoracic spine, and the hamstrings. We get into body positions. And even like that might say that it might seem like we could knock something like that section out within 20 to 30 minutes. But in reality, we spend an hour just right there because I break it down into such detailed parts so that, number one, you know exactly how you should be executing each of these things, but more importantly, why. Because that is the biggest takeaway from my seminars. If you don't understand why I want you to do something, you're never going to do it, especially when I leave, right?
Absolutely.
So you have to be very comfortable with why I have these methods, why you should be training with this technique, why you should be doing hollow holds and arch holds every single day, why you need to be stretching multiple times a day. And so just the fact that we go that in depth, we get that detailed and that thorough to make sure every single athlete in attendance understands the importance, how it's going to benefit them individually, is definitely what sets mine apart. Just because I've never been to other CrossFit functional fitness gymnastics seminars, but I know that they do not go in depth. They don't give you an explanation as to why you should be doing this. They just say, go do it and you'll improve. But it's like, why? How? What's the reasoning behind doing all this stuff? Because it seems really dumb. Well, we're going to go over all of that and more to make sure you have a very clear vision of how you are going to successfully progress in the future. Yeah, I think that answered it.
Yeah, that's great. Absolutely. You definitely have to know the why, right? You have to buy into what you're.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. And there's even, so I'll say this too. There are a lot of good gymnastics coaches within CrossFit. Best one comes to mind is obviously, well, maybe not coach, the best athlete within CrossFit gymnastics. I'll give him this. Dave Durante. He went to the Olympics. I say he's better just because I didn't, unfortunately. He has that one above me. But in all reality, a lot of CrossFit gymnastics coaches were never artistic gymnasts, which is mind-blowing because the skills that we're trying to do in CrossFit were first derived from artistic gymnastics. So if you're not learning how to do these skills properly, the way they were intended to be done, you're doing yourself a total disservice because they're probably much harder than they should be. You're using more energy than you should be, and you're probably not doing it very safely because you're putting your body in positions that you don't need to do or you probably shouldn't do. So the fact that I can break all these skills down the way that they were intended to be executed in artistic gymnastics makes for a much easier movement, much easier than a lot of athletes even realize. And I think that's that's most of the aha moments in my seminars, is because athletes are like, wow, I never thought of that. I didn't even know I had to do that. Like, why didn't somebody tell me? This is so much easier. And so that's what I love to hear, is just people having that breakthrough. Because I know as an athlete, 99% of CrossFitters are competitive. They're athletes. They want to get better. And so when they have that moment where everything just clicks and you can kind of see it in their eyes, it's exciting because they know that, wow, yes, now I'm going to get better. I got out of this what I wanted to get out of this. Absolutely.
Absolutely. And I don't think, look, the fact that you didn't go to Olympics is not whether you're a great coach. Cause I'm a firm believer that a coach is a calling, and being able to do that very well. Like you have to practice that just like you have to practice gymnastics, and so from everything you sound with your motivation and the love for it, I have no doubt that it's going to be an amazing seminar. Um, yeah.
Yeah, that's what I meant. I caught myself. I was like, he was a better athlete, but
yeah, I mean, I'd have to see both of you coach, but cool. So, do you think it's for everybody, right? Like your seminars from someone who just starts all the way to advanced athletes. So how does that, is it difficult to do that? Do you think it takes away from the course, or do you think it makes it better?
Great question. So I love this in that I always say on each of my registration pages that all levels are welcome. And that is the honest to God truth, because it's kind of like I just talked about. Everything that we do in this seminar is artistically gymnastics based, which means we are going to really harp on those foundational principles within the sport: the coordination, the strength, the flexibility, the body awareness. And in order to do those, we've got to kind of backtrack. We've got to work on body positions. We've got to work on coordination drills, which I won't reveal now because I always like to surprise everybody with them. But in saying that, they are all doable for all levels of athlete, just because it's going to challenge these CrossFit athletes in new ways that they've never been challenged before. And once we get into the actual CrossFit gymnastics skills, the skill portion of the whole seminar, I have so many progressions and drills for every single skill that we cover that we literally make sure we cover all bases with every single movement that we do. So we'll start at the beginning. And I even tell a lot of athletes this, is that I hesitate to even call my drills progressions, because the connotation behind the word progression makes you think that once you've already mastered, this first exercise, you never have to go back to it. You can move on, you can go to the next, the harder skill, and never come back. But in reality, you absolutely should be coming back. You should be training the basics every single day to really reinforce that body weight strength, that body awareness that you need to make sure you're performing your best during those high level skills. So we go through a series of basic to advanced drills that have different goals, which means athletes of all levels should be doing every single one, at least on a weekly basis. So it allows those athletes, the attendees, to work at a level that they're comfortable with. I'm never going to make anyone do something that they're uncomfortable with. Again, the goal is to make sure everybody's having a good time, giving them the confidence that they can, achieve these goals, achieve these skills they once thought were unattainable. And so there's just such a variety of movements and exercises to choose from for every single CrossFit gymnastics skill that everyone will be working the whole time. Everyone's going to benefit. And it's just really cool to have those athletes working together, because usually, CrossFit gyms have classes based on where you are at physically and athletically. And so my seminars give an opportunity for the beginner gymnast and the advanced gymnast to come together, work side by side on the same drill, both challenged still, so that they can kind of help each other out, get new perspectives, and just have a really great training day, because, they're working side by side with someone they're not usually working with. So it's just a really cool atmosphere to see that.
Yeah, that's awesome. That's awesome. We, like I said, very similar in kind of like how we view training, because in my gyms is the same way. We, advanced athletes and new athletes are all in the same class, because like you said, it's not a progression. It's practicing basics, and you can't ever get too good at the basics,
Yes.
So that's awesome. Cool.
Good. I love that you coach like that.
Yeah, absolutely.
So
far. Cool. So anything else do you want to tell the people about your seminar?
Yeah, I guess so. Last but not least, well, number one, you should obviously attend.
Obviously.
Yeah, I covered most of my points. You will not find a more passionate coach about this. I am incredibly patient. I pride myself on that today, because I have not always been patient in my life in the past. I love working with athletes who normally get frustrated, who have a lot of anxiety because they want to be the best, because they want to do things perfectly, just because it is a great learning moment and teaching tool to show somebody that they have to allow themselves to be patient with themselves, to give themselves some grace, because there's a reason why not everybody in the world does gymnastics, is because it's hard. And so not only do we talk about, the tangible skills that we cover, but we also cover mindset. And that is pertainable to athletes of all levels. It's how are you mentally approaching something? How are you mentally approaching yourself and your own performance? And so that's always a really cool kind of perspective to take from these. And not to mention, I guarantee improvement when you attend my seminar. So if you are committed enough and you really want to get better at CrossFit, you want to make this your craft, or you're just really excited about progressing in a new sport and whatever stage of life you're in, if you attend my seminar, you will get better. That's the biggest thing. I know, yes, I've been doing seminars for a while now, but I don't expect everybody to know who I am by any means. And so if there's someone who, has never heard of my gymnastics, has never heard of me, most likely they're going to be like, why is she qualified to teach me gymnastics? But, and you won't be able to see that for yourselves unless you attend, but I guarantee you it will be the best gymnastics seminar, the best gymnastics experience an athlete will have within CrossFit.
Awesome. That's a bold claim, but I feel like I believe you 100%.
I wouldn't say it if I didn't believe it.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. All right.
I'm very confident in the value I bring.
Good. So, that's good. Well, we're pumped for it. September 15th and 16th, I think is when, am I right? I don't know.
16th and 17th.
16th and 17th. So 16th will be at Deprivation in Phoenix City.
Wait.
No.
15th, 16th. You were right.
I was right. Okay, so 15th at Deprivation in Phoenix City, and then 16th will be next up in Atlanta. I actually have a powerlifting competition the day before you come in, so it'll be a crazy.
Really?
Yeah.
So you're good.
Yeah, so I'll be all over the place. But it was awesome, and when you come, we will definitely talk some more, and hopefully we'll dig in maybe a little bit more into your experience and stuff like that.
Oh boy.
Yeah, absolutely. So, but yeah, everybody take the course, get pumped for it, and we'll talk again soon.
That sounds good.